To be successful with a small garden landscape design, you have to be able to answer these 5 questions. And the last one, I'm not even really hearing anybody else talk about. So let's dig in. Number 1, you have to know how much sun you have and where it shines, because that's going to determine, along with the climate that you live in, where and when you can grow. If you look at this picture, I just planted these just this past month or so, and you can definitely tell the difference in growth between what's in shade and what's not. The stuff in sun is getting way more heat and it's not doing as well, but it's probably not able to hold on to the moisture. Now it's going to be different for your climate, but in my climate here in Phoenix, Arizona, I'm in the North Phoenix area, that's critical for us. So what actually happened here is it needed to have more mulch to be able to hold the moisture in the ground, but I had run out. And so it was really, really obvious where the seeds like to grow better. Number 2, you have to decide what you're going to grow in the garden. This is really the why that you're even doing this, right? Are you going to grow flowers? Do you want to grow flowers for your friends? Are you trying to make some money on the side? Are you wanting to grow vegetables or fruits to provide for your family? Maybe you want to have a tree, or you want to be able to have fresh salads. This is the why, and you have to determine that up front. Now, can you change your mind? Absolutely. Will you change your mind? Probably. Once you get going, it's really good to test and try different things, even if you have the one thing that you're really trying to grow. Just on the side, have a little test area for maybe other things that you'd like to grow in the future, just in case what you thought you wanted to grow doesn't turn out. Number 3, you have to be honest with yourself. How much garden are you wanting? You might want an area to have barbecues. You might want to have an area for your kids to play. Or you might be just completely dedicated to growing everything you possibly can in the room that you have. So right now is the time to get really honest with yourself. Take a look at what you've got. Take a look at where you can grow, because that could actually help force that decision as well. All right, think hard about this one. Number 4 is going to sound hard, but it isn't. It's just really straightforward. You have to know your numbers. You have to know how much water it's going to take, how much space it's going to take, and how much you want to grow. You might not know how to figure this out right now, but I'm going to walk you through an example to help you dial in on what it is that you have to think about in order to figure it out. Okay, here we go. If I want to can enough tomatoes to make spaghetti once a week for the next 3 months with my fresh tomato sauce, then I'm going to need 12 quarts. Just go with me on this one, whether you use a quart for every time you make spaghetti sauce or not, or whether you just buy it in a jar. This is for the example's sake, okay? And let's just say, for the example, that you have a 4x8 area, or that I have a 4x8 area to grow them in. That means that I'm going to need 105 gallons of water each month. That doesn't mean that I'm going to throw 105 gallons on them all at once. It means over the month, I'm going to have watered them at least 105 gallons for this space, this 4x8 space. That's about what we would estimate it would take, okay? And the tomato plant would need to produce 3 pounds for a quart of tomato sauce. Okay, that's how much it takes to be able to fill a quart. Now, each plant, if I plant Roma tomatoes, they typically produce 20 to 30 pounds over their 90-day season. Now, you're going to grow them, water them, watch them grow tomatoes, and then they're going to turn red. And they don't necessarily all turn red at the same time, but you're going to hope that you get to them before the birds do. We're going to assume that I'm right there on it. I was today. I actually picked one of my very first red tomato for the season. That's beside the point. One plant, and this is, I'm Googling these numbers, and they have their little AI generated numbers. So it's estimated that one plant of Roma tomatoes would give me 6 to 10 quarts. Okay. If they produce 20 to 30 pounds, these are the numbers that I'm getting from Google, over their 90-day season, and I need 3 pounds for 1 quart, then I'm going to get 6 to 10 quarts. But in this 4 by 8 area, I probably have room for at least 2 plants. I could probably put more in there, but it really depends on how big they grow. And I'm just, for this example, going to say that I could have 2. Now, that would give me all the tomato sauce I want, right? Because even if each one only gave me the 20 pounds, then I could still make at least, 12 quarts at, minimum. So these are the things you need to know. How much water, how much food, how much space. Now, what I gave you was 105 gallons per month. For a raised bed, growing veggies, you can generally estimate 3.3 gallons per square foot. Okay, it's an estimate. It's just to help you have the numbers, especially if getting water to these plants is going to be a big deal, or if the water bill is a big deal, right? Either way, whether they're, just logistics of getting it all there, that's a number you need to know. If you've got to walk out there with your watering can every day to be able to deliver these 105 gallons, you want to know what you're in for. Now, I also asked Google what the most space efficient vegetables are, and it really just confirmed what I thought it would be. And these are like lettuce, spinach. Those can be harvested multiple times for the same plant. So I had a spinach, I think I had like 3 or 4 of them in a row, that I would just go out every few days when I would want a salad, and I would trim some off, wash off the leaves, and then I would throw that in my salad. Lettuce is pretty similar. You do the same thing. And then the other things are like bush varieties of beans and cucumbers that can climb, and that takes up vertical space versus spreading out on the ground. So those are the most space efficient vegetables. So if you're looking for something that you're wanting to maximize the space you have, those are the ones you want to look at. Now, maybe you don't like those, or maybe you like cucumbers and you want to make pickles. Make sure you pick that particular variety, right? Anyways, that's my example. I hope that helps for number 4, having to know your numbers, how much water, how much food, how much space. So for number 5, I want to talk about how much money. You can buy plants from the store, and you can plant them into your garden bed, if you've got a raised bed. But there's other costs that go along with that don't often get talked about. And I wanted to talk about that with you because I really want you to understand the full story of what's got to happen. Okay, so you have to have potting mix. You've got to have the pot to grow it in. And the bigger the pot, the more mass that you have to be able to hold the heat or the coolness for whatever weather you're in. Okay, so for example, here in Phoenix, Arizona, it gets way over 100. So if I've got a larger pot, that soil will not reach it will not reach as high of temperatures as, say, a pot that's just like the one that you pick up at the store, the little small ones, right? Those are going to cook the roots. Essentially, that's what you're doing, is just cooking the roots. If that's not even what doesn't often get talked about. A lot of people talk about, eat the food and then plant the seeds. That's wonderful. You can take clippings from other people's plants if your friends are willing to share those with you, or you somehow otherwise acquire those. That's up to you. Those are all ways to make more, right? You can make more from if you buy one and then you start taking clippings and making more plants that way. But at the end of the day, you still have to be able to have compost to be able to provide nutrients to the soil. You should probably provide mulch if you're in a cold climate or a hot climate or anywhere in between. Really, mulch is still really important. It still provides soil temperature stability, I guess you could say, soil moisture stability. That's really the whole purpose behind mulch. Sorry, I'm bouncing, but I really wanted to have kind of a little bit more of a intimate conversation about this. So you can buy, what you should do is buy other plants to plant along with it. So these are your nitrogen fixers and all of those wonderful things, right, that help support the plants. But the other kind of support that you should be providing is leafiness, right? Like green stuff that you can chop off. So you want plants that you can just chop off, like when you prune them, you can prune them back and have that to just be able to mulch and create your own compost. You want to gather your cardboards or have a woody type of a shrub or a tree that will grow fast enough and tolerate the pruning that you'll have to do to be able to have that woody material, because a proper compost will have the woody material and the green material. The first question, how much sun, where does it shine, right? You need to know the how and the where. The second one is, what are you going to grow? This is your why, right? Are you growing because you want to take care of the bees and have help the pollinators? Are you growing because you want to feed your family? What is your why? So what are you going to grow because of that? That's number 2. Number 3 is you have to be honest with yourself about what other activities you want to have, and that will influence how much garden you want to have, right? Do you just want every square inch to be garden, or is there an area for you to have a fire pit? Do you want to be able to walk throughout the garden to take care of it? That's the spaces that you need to be able to think about so that you can properly set your expectations and decide how much room the garden can actually take in the space that you have. Number 4, you have to know your numbers. How much water, how much food or flowers, and then how much space. So number 3 really kind of feeds number 4 in how much space, right? If you have to determine what's left. What do you have available for garden? But you have to know these 3 numbers. How much water, how much food, how much space. That's number 4. All right, don't forget my tomato example. Number 5 is knowing all of the costs, not just how much does it cost to get the plant. Taking into account how much the bedding, the soil is that you're going to put it in for your raised bed or you're in the ground, whatever you're going to do. Obviously, if you're putting it in the ground, that saves money for not having to buy soil, but you're still, depending on your soil condition, you might still need to supplement, right? You might still need to put something better in the ground with your plant to help it have nutrients. And then over time, as you add more compost and green matter and woody matter and all of that stuff, then it will start to actually improve that system that you have. Support plants. That's the last part of that, right? If you have support plants, which yes, is a cost up front, but it doesn't have to be, because you can do the same thing you would do to gather seeds and clippings and all of that, right? So you want to have a lot of these support plants to be able to provide all of that green material that you can compost, right? You need to have those woody plants or some sort of form of woody material to be able to have the greens and the browns so that your compost is balanced and it has all the nutrients it needs to help your garden be successful. All right. I hope this was helpful to you. I really want your garden to be successful, and I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if this helped you, and if you have any questions, let me know. All right. Happy growing.